How much money should you be spending on Facebook ads as a small business? This question is something I get all the time. I'll be talking to someone as an agency owner and I'm trying to find out more information about their business. And what I'm told is that they just want to know how much they're supposed to spend on Facebook. Maybe they've tried it in the past and it hasn't worked, but I need to really unpack what that means, right? So I don't know if they've had a bad ads operator. I don't know if they've just been like cash poor, cash available to spend, knowing that you're going to get some of it back. And I don't know if there's any kind of like minor details assigned to the business that I don't know about, right? Like maybe someone is sharing the ad spend, maybe the ad spend is coming from a loan, things of that nature. So that question of how much should you spend on Facebook in order to make some kind of impact is kind of like nuanced, right? So let's think about this for a second. I always start with $100 a day. So that's $3,000 a month, given that each month has an average of 30 days, right? So if you have $100 a day, what does that do for you? Well, it gives you an opportunity for Facebook to have enough to get out there and try. Maybe you have a cost cap in place. Cost cap is like how much you are willing to spend to acquire a customer, right? But I don't know your average order value. So how much you're willing to spend to acquire a customer is really up to you. And you have to know your numbers, which is an important thing. But going back to the $100. So ultimately what you want to do is you want to be able to learn from the data, the soft metrics, and the metrics that are more tied to the actual conversion, right? Soft metrics are going to be the creative. So how is your 3-second view rate? How is your click-through rate? Is it above 1%? Is it resonating? Is the creative resonating, right? Then you've got your add to cart. There's a bunch of other things, but you've also got your add to cart and your purchase and your average order value. And then, take into consideration your lifetime value, how much that customer is going to come back and spend in the future. But let's just talk about we're spending $100 a day. If you have a product that's $99, you truthfully out of the gate as you're trying to learn and the ads are trying to optimize, meaning they're trying to get to, 50 conversions, right? And then they're able to optimize for people that purchased, like those people, those 50 people, right? So let's say that you have $100, you have a $99 product. Is it reasonable to assume that you could maybe get one sale off of the first day of spending $100? Maybe. That's a return on ad spend of a 1.0, right? Now, it's not going to be profitable for you. You're not going to make any money from that, but it's something to think about. At least you're thinking now, okay, let's say you have a $50 product. You spend $100 and you sell 2, right? Maybe that works for you. I don't know, but let's go back to the $100 product. If you spend $100, you make $100, you're not making it one for one. And I say that like you're not making any profit because you have costs associated with that $100. And the costs associated with that $100, let's call it the COGS, the cost of goods and services, right? That is what's going to determine what your customer acquisition cost can be. So just for round numbers, we spend 100, we make 100. Out of that 100, let's say you have an 80% COGS, horrible, right? But a 20% margin. So if you have a product where people are going to come back and buy it a second or third or fourth time, then what you can do is take that $20 of profit and you can either apply it to more ad spend or you can make that your customer acquisition cost, knowing that you can only spend $20 to acquire a customer to break even. You following me? So you got $100. It costs you $80 to make the product, which is horrible, by the way, and you only have a 20% profit margin. That means that if you want to break even, you have to acquire the customers for $20. That's really not going to work. A product like that is not going to work. Now let's switch it around. Let's say it's 20% COGS, and let's say it's $80 profit. Now you're playing with something because you've got $80 as a customer acquisition cost to break even. There's no way it's going to cost you $80 to acquire a new customer, depending on what your product is and if it's resonating with the market at all, right? But what you can do is you can take that 80, split it in half, and say, at worst, ad operator, I need you to acquire new customers, paying $100 for $40. $40 customer acquisition cost, or CAC. That means that if I spend $40 on advertising, then I will sell a $100 product. That ROAS is pretty darn good, right? At least out of the gate. But eventually you want to get to that 3, 4, return on ad spend. Every dollar you spend turns into $4, that kind of thing. Then you've got scale, then you can spend more money. But I hope this answers the question. $100 is the base that I would say to start with for Facebook ads, meta ads, whatever you want to call them. And really, it comes down to the operator having the information that he needs. So you got to know your numbers as a business owner, and you've got to tell the ad operator, you must acquire customers for no more than this, right? Could be $40, could be $90, depending on your profit margin. Who knows, right? But start with $100 a day, get the data, evaluate the soft metrics, evaluate the data that is closer to the actual conversion, and then make your decisions on how much budget or how much cash you have on hand to go forward as a business owner. I hope this helps, guys. If you need anything, check us out over at c4social.com. See you later.